Okay, guys, we are live. So for those listening at home, welcome to the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. My name is Kevin Madison, and I will be your friendly dungeon muser this evening. Tonight, we are continuing on with our ongoing campaign, playing Paizo Publishing's very cool Pathfinder 2nd Edition, set in Greg Gillespie's very awesome. Where is it? Barrowmaze Complete, which does not have is not easy at hand right now. And with me tonight are the stars of the ongoing Barrowmaze campaign. I'll go in the order that I've got you guys on the screen here. If you could tell us who you are and who you're playing tonight, because we're splitting up the party again. So first up is John.
Hey everybody, I'm John. I will be playing Drook, the bounty hunter, raging druid of anger. So
nice. And next up is Jeff.
Hey everybody, I'm Jeff, and I'm playing Badonk Bent Bucket, the Goblin Monk Acrobat.
Nice. And next up is Arlen.
Hi, I'm Arlen. I am playing Angus. Angus is mostly a wizard, and he's just not sort of like much. Most wizards are a lot more magic, and he's a lot more raw swords, so, you know.
Nice. And last but not least is Carl.
Yes, I'm Carl. I am playing Buka Duskwort. He is a halfling alchemist.
Nice. Okay. So guys, I need to... I was trying to find something here. Oh, no. Okay. So, where we last left our heroes was with the party splitting again. Actually, let me turn this... This music's a little excessively creepy. Where are we? We're going to be starting in the Mountain Tavern. Here we go. There we go. It's a little more welcoming. So where we last left our heroes was with both groups meeting up again in Helix and discussing the two, I guess, where the two different groups of characters were going to be heading. For those listening at home, we've, by virtue of necessity, we've split the party, as it were, into where everyone has a backup character and a primary character. And the, let's see here, the current setup is we have half of those characters heading off to Ironguard Mott to try and pursue some leads and to try and follow up on what they learned from the Mother of Toads. And then we also have some who are going to seek out, at the request of Wes Littlefoot, to try and seek out a way of contacting Serene the Flying City again, and the gnomes there who seem to have some kind of knowledge over dealing with necromantic forces using their unusual gnomish technology. But Donk, you remember meeting those guys, right?
Yep, absolutely.
And I was actually watching the older sessions before too, and you it seemed at first that you were not super keen on going to the Flying City.
No, not at all. That was not.
Go ahead.
That was not Badonk's idea of a good time, but he did go in the end.
And he made some friends there as well too, from what I recall.
Yeah, he made some pretty good friends actually.
Mm-hmm. So, I think that what we because Dave isn't able to make it tonight, what we'll say is that Wes has brought this task to you, Badonk, and I'll let you kind of fill in how you think that happened, because you're. So what Wes, just to give you background, Jeff, what Wes found out is that he was approached by Oberon, the elf from the Thorns Wild Elves, who lives in town, works as a Fletcher. For kind of as a way of supporting himself. He approached him and asked, knowing that Wes and yourself had been to the Flying City before and they'd heard about your crazy trap that you used. You remember that you had that gifted to you or provided to you as payment for your...
Right.
What do you call it? Your...
for our assistance.
Yeah, for your assistance in the Barrowmaze when they were trapping some kind of necro specter thing that they wanted, apparently in connection with some kind of specter chasing business or something. as a refresher, their names, of course, were Dr. Peter Crankman, Dr. Egon Springloader, Dr. Ray Stones, and Winston Dreadmore. So, the so these
Is this from Barrowmaze?
this is from Barrow. No, this is an edition I made.
Okay.
Yeah. This is last year we did when shortly after Carl Sargent passed away. I did a couple sessions as sort of a way of honoring him both as the creator of Serene and also as a paranormal investigator. So, so the so what he had asked Wes is well, do you have a way of contacting them again? They seem to have some way of dealing with these things with spectral entities, and the home of the Thorns Wild Elves, their community seems to be beset by them at present, and they were hoping that the gnomes might be able to provide some way of stopping them from coming in or preventing them from constantly manifesting in their town. So Wes is going to come to Badonk at some point because Badonk was left a way of contacting Serene. So how do you think that scene plays out, Jeff?
I don't know. Like, I guess you would have some kind of a little radio or something.
I'm wondering specifically the scene of Wes approaching Badonk.
Oh.
We'll role play through sort of what what the actual way of contacting them is. But I'm wondering, how do you think Wes approaches it? Since Dave isn't able to make it, we'll just give it up to you to decide how this plays out.
I mean, I think they're such good friends. He would just, tell him that he needs his help and essentially ask him for a favor. I think knowing that Badonk befriended the gnomes, it probably wouldn't be too big of a deal at all. So, and it's also winter right now, and Badonk does not really like the Barrow more in winter. So
Yeah.
he'd probably be quite happy to head out and go somewhere less cold
Okay.
and icy.
Okay. So we, Wes, I think just sort of brings it up, indirectly. That seems to be Wes's way of sort of, sitting down and talking about one thing and then slowly sort of awkwardly transitioning into what he's actually there to talk to you about. And
Right.
he brings up the fact that, he brings up that, this, Oberon, right? And what he, that he's kind of coming and going, and that he's from the Thorns Wild Elves. It seems that they want to talk to our friends in the Spectre Chasers, and to see if they can help with this problem that they've got there in the Thorns Wild community.
Right. Well, weren't we left a method to contact them?
Well, that's what I was hoping. Wes doesn't have a way of contacting them, but you, he thought that you did.
Yeah. So what do I have, like a sounding stone or something like that?
I think it's actually kind of like a crank up little like mechanical bird. Something where you
Okay.
kind of like, I'm picturing it sort of like, it looks like a what do you call it, like a structure or a statue of some kind, but then once you sort of like turn a crank on it and crank it up, it'll fly off and it'll reach Serene wherever it is, and deliver a message for you.
Beautiful. Yes. So, Wes, actually, I can do that.
Great. Would you mind doing that?
No, not at all. Not at all. I'll go get my device from my room.
Okay. So what do you think the actual device looks like?
Probably kind of like a radio, like you said, but maybe with some kind of a magical microphone on it,
Okay.
and then I don't know. It'd be probably sort of a wooden case with lots of glass and metal on it.
Okay. So how does Badonk activate this sucker, and where does he activate? I'm assuming he's been storing it in his room, right?
Yeah, he's been storing it in his room. He's got a. He's maybe kept the crank separate. So he's got, he's got kept the little crank on him in his little money pouch or whatever, and he pulls it out, sort of inserts it like a key. He has to crank it, and as he's cranking it, like there's like a old radio tube that's like building up with electrical power of some sort.
Yep.
And then he probably has some kind of a discharge that it does, or maybe he records a short message like, "Hello, this is Badonk." What did you say their names were?
Their names are
not all their character names. Their little group.
They're the Spectre Chasers.
Oh, yeah. Spectre Chasers. This is Badonk. Need to get a hold of you. Please contact me.
Okay. So you keep cranking this thing. The little charge thing kind of builds up more and more until finally this thing kind of launches from it. And you immediately regret having not done this outside because it smashes through the window.
Oh no!
Leaving it exposed out, to the environments. But fortunately, you look over. You're like, oh, but the thing does not seem to be. It pauses for a second and kind of does this like robotic, like shaking of its head, and then takes off into the sky.
Sorry.
So how do you explain this to Ballo that you've broken his window?
I'll actually probably, we're good enough friends, I would probably head over and pay him for the window.
Okay.
I probably wouldn't just leave it as, sorry I broke your window, but
Sure.
actually deal with it.
Ooh, so I think that, does mending repair a window? I wonder.
Yeah, actually, I think if you were to pick up the pieces and kind of just hold them in place, if you did have a wizard with mending, you could mend it.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Bargle and whatnot, they were sort of 5 hit points per spell level for casting the spell. It's a first level spell. So I don't know if Bargle has it, but we can say that, what's his name? What's his name? Vax Silver Scroll could make a very brief appearance and then repair the thing and then disappear again for another 6 months. So fortunately, you're able to have that magically mended. And then, Jeff, why don't you give me a D6 roll?
Sure.
Okay. So it's almost it's a little more than half a week before you're going to, hear a response. How does Badonk talk this over with Buka, Angus, and Druk? I guess let's do it in reverse order here. Buka, I'm particularly curious about, once the talk was about the flying city, which Buka obviously hasn't been to yet.
No.
How does that connect with him with the Mother of Toads?
Well, the Mother of Toads tasked me to get something from the sky. So that's the first time I've heard of something a sky city. So there must be something up in his mind. There must be something up there that she would want.
Okay.
I mean, the other lead he had was like, I guess I got to climb the moon peaks. That seems out of the way, and this seems to line up with what we're doing.
Never let it be said that a halfling will, give up low-hanging fruit. So then, okay, cool. So then, how does Buka sort of invite himself along on this task then? I think you probably hear. You and Wes, have bonded a little bit over the last little while as fellow halflings. Mm-hmm. He maybe tells you about this flying city that he wants to return to, and Badonk sends out his message for it. How does Buka sort of invite himself in?
Well, Angus was there at the Mother of Toads, right? Who else was there?
Angus was, and none of the other two characters. Oberon. Oh, and Jeff Oberon is in Helix as well.
Oh, okay. He's returned here since the.
Yeah, when they met with the Mother of Toads, everyone we sort of he phased in and out. But when the entrance or the exit from the Mother of Toads grotto opened up, it opened up right near Helix.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So sorry, Buka or Carl, you were saying.
Right. Well, I guess we split up the group who went to Iron God Mott, so I just cut it in half. And I'll
Okay.
stay with Angus. you know, that's part of it. But then again, there's no other lead to complete the task, so
Okay.
that's what I'm
Interesting.
doing.
Well, it's
I
curious
guess
too.
we've had with, I mean, we've hung out with Badonk before.
Yeah, you guys went to the troll cave
More.
before.
Yep. So
Okay. And that is it. Yeah, I mean, I imagine that if he feels that there's a connection there, it is quite fortuitous that suddenly people are talking about a flying city when you've been tasked with finding a piece of the sky. What about Druk? What's Druk's decision to sort of go along with this?
Well, basically, he's horrible at shoveling snow. We found out, and
Yes, he is.
he has really no concepts outside of hunting and foraging to make his living in Helix while the winter is going on. So any kind of expedition he can sign up with that might get him around and about to find his bounty. Plus, he doesn't want to go to a sky city. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Sure, he's going to cause a stir of the half-orc go into an elven city, but...
Druk, give me a society check, please. Let's see what you've heard about Serene.
Roll a 0. Oh, well, no.
Nice. Okay. So what you're aware of is that there is this roving, city. It's this literal city in the sky that is apparently full of a bunch of wild kind of creatures, gnomes and something like elves, but not quite like elves, like winged elves with kind of feather features, these flying centaurs called pegatars, and a bunch of other strange, fearsome creatures. Harpies, sphinxes, and other even wilder creatures. And they seem to drift all over. Not conquering, just trading.
Sounds like a bard got a little bit too busy over a couple generations ago.
And what about Angus? What does Angus think of this?
Well, Angus has kind of been along for the ride for the most part.
Yeah.
But I think he was a little. He didn't show it very much, but definitely underneath was kind of intimidated by the whole toad frogling thing, and so he doesn't exactly want to go searching for the frogling spawning grounds or whatever it is that the other group is doing. And I'm also kind of wondering, since Angus is still basically like a hireling, if the party as a whole, obviously we're not going to have everybody as both of their characters show up to do like a round table meeting of here's what's going to go on, but I wonder if he maybe like got assigned. Sir Yvain says, all right, Angus, you're going with these guys.
Yeah. Well, in particular, if you guys are heading back, if you want a further RP excuse for why he's not going, that's where you ran into those witch hunters.
Yep.
So
I do not like them.
Yeah, so the prospect of heading back to where, you were nearly murdered in an alleyway, probably that might provide another further excuse as to why not to go along to there. Let's see here. Okay, so then there's going to be about 4 days that pass between when the message goes out and when something happens in response. What, I guess first off, let's go back to Badonk. Badonk, what are you, the way you described it, there's a little, radio thing on the other end there. How is he, are you keeping that thing with you at all times, or are you just having someone listen?
Probably now that I've sent the message out, I would be carrying it around.
Okay. So like 80s boombox style, you got it over your shoulder,
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Nice. Okay. So, and then what are you doing to kill the time here? Are you just, training with the dogs, or...?
Yeah, probably, a lot of indoor stuff. Like I said, Badonk's not a big fan of the winter, and so he is mostly just hanging out inside.
Sure. So I think Biscuit and Bone have got a prime place right by the fire. You're sitting by there as well, too. And just kind of waiting for the, your feet resting on, you're sitting in a chair, your feet resting on the response apparatus for your messaging thing. And you can restore your health back up to 58 as well, too. You'll definitely have time to heal up.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah. And Buka, what about you? What is Buka going to be occupying his time with for the 4 days? I mean, he doesn't know he has that, but I mean, like, what would we see in kind of the montage of waiting?
Going over his formulas, making sure he's got everything he needs to make them. Helix is kind of boring, right?
Yeah. This time of year, for the most part, yeah.
Oh, that elf? Did I know that elf returned?
He returned, but apparently left again.
Oh.
Oberon, yeah. Wes spoke to him though. Why? Was there a message you wanted to get to him, or?
He was the only person who might know how to make snowshoes.
Oh right, yeah. Why don't you go ahead and give me a give me a crafting check, please.
Okay.
Let's see here. Let's see if you're talking it over with because now that what's his name is back. Now that the hunter is back, and he's feeling better. Yeah.
That was the guy that was like sick.
Yeah. I mean, you guys saved his life and the life of his kids, so I mean, he's definitely going to be Hendon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, I think Hendon explains enough to you for you to understand sort of the principles of it. Mm-hmm. So if you wish to make a pair of snowshoes, or I can't even remember, guys. Are snowshoes actually listed in the equipment?
I don't remember.
I don't think so. They're probably in like Ash, the Ash book, because it has everything.
Yeah. When they have in the Ultimate Equipment Guide, I guarantee we'll have it because
they have everything.
Yeah. Like fucking 300 pages of nothing but gear. So let's just take a look and see what. Where are we here? Let's just see what the price is in comparison to get you an idea of how much it'll cost you.
Snowshoe skis.
You know what? People are sitting around thinking like, hey, where can I find a podcast where people look up the cost of making snowshoes? Well, you know what? You found the place.
Yeah.
This is some truly epic stuff. Are you going to be fighting dead gods? Nah. Let's look up the cost of making snowshoes. Like our Saturday session of Ash was mostly a lot of bookkeeping stuff too, but boy, was it a fun session.
Mm-hmm.
Holy smokes. Snowshoes. Okay, so snowshoes in PF1 are 5 GP and 4 pounds. So they're going to be a light weight object. So they'll be light as far as encumbrance goes. And 5 gold. Let's look at in comparison to weaponry.
I think how much a scimitar costed.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, let's see here. Let's see. 5 gold would buy you... No, there's not a weapon that'll be in this edition.
There's no scimitars?
It's about half the price of a short sword. So whatever a short sword is, we'll do half the price of that. That is the cost of snowshoes. So a short sword costs
Short sword
9
is
silver
9
pieces.
silver? Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll round it up just because it's an
5
unusual
silver.
item. So it'll be 5 silver pieces
Okay.
to craft that, so you can figure out whatever the crafting time is. I think it's like
A day per silver piece?
yeah, so I think it'll be like 2 silver and 5 copper to craft it halfway to the midway point, and then you can choose to either pay the full price to complete it immediately, or you can just take a little extra time based on your roll to. So give me a crafting roll to make these things. I'm assuming that's what you wanted to do, is make these suckers.
Yep.
Okay, let's make a pair here. And let's take a look at your the earning a living. 13 is not great. All right,
Like
so
a 2 on the dice. That's awful.
I think the task.
11 crafting. That's dumb.
Okay, so that is
Binary die rolls.
which. Hey, don't blame the. It's a what do you call it? It's a poor craftsman who blames his tools. Okay.
I didn't do the code for the random die rolls here, though they were great yesterday for me.
You used up all your good rolls.
I
So
know.
4 days of work, and you have been. I'm assuming you've been working on this for a little while as well too. So,
Yeah.
difficulty for. God dang it. Whoops. That actually fails. So, you want to spend your hero point to re-roll that, or you just want to make no progress on your crafting? I mean, that actually, if this is the first time you're making snowshoes, you can kind of picture that you've got like this mess of like wicker that you've woven together, and you're like, what the fuck am I making here?
I'll just wait. It's not critical. We're not going into the Barrowmaze.
Okay. So it's at that point, Buka has kind of claimed either a corner of the common room, or he's working in his room, and just his floor is covered by these, what appears to be a rough wicker basket and then some bent wood. When everyone kind of, someone comes bursting in from outside and says, "There's something coming in!" And you guys can hear this. And Badonk, you're the only one who actually recognizes this sound. It sounds like I'm trying to think what it would sound like to you guys. It might sound like the kind of like growling of an animal of some kind coming from way up high. And Badonk, you put your snowshoes or your snow clothes on and go racing outside. And you're looking up in the sky, and it's even in the wintertime, it still seems to be perpetually covered or overcast, even though it's not snowing today. But what you see, making its way around or circling in the sky is one of those bizarre contraptions, that flying bird thing that you had flown up into the up into the flying city before. And you may remember that the guy, it was Beepo Fizzlecrank who was the pilot of the one that took you up there. So you're standing outside, and the wind is beginning to howl. This thing is rattling around. Badonk, would you kindly give me a perception check, please?
Okay, perception. Oops. Perceive. Oh, holy crow!
Yeah. Okay, so you're looking up and like, holy smokes! You can't tell if it's the one that you rode in before. I mean, it's such an unusual looking thing, and it slowly angles around. Angus, Druk, and Buka, you've come outside as well too, and you see this thing going around. And what it appears to be is, it's as if like a bird was rigid in place, with its wings outstretched and not moving. And it's slowly making this weird cawing sound as it goes around, and then
Drew grabs his longbow and knocks an arrow and looks up.
Okay. And Badonk, with a terrible perception roll like that, you I don't think you even noticed that Druk has readied his bow. No. So this thing,
no idea.
It angles around, and then it slowly comes in, and this weird fixed-wing bird thing comes down through this major, or the open area here, lands and leaving this strange thing in its wake. There's a weird distortion to the front of this thing, like it's got some kind of magical effect on it. But then as soon as it starts kind of coughing in a weird way, you see that there's suddenly now what appears to be just really fast spinning pair of outright oars that are affixed to the front of this thing. And it lands and stops, and if you I think the windows would actually be all frosted over as well too. So it appears like this thing's got these weird reflective eyes. It has these, fearsome, huge wings. This thing is easily the size of or the length of one of the buildings here. But Donk, once this thing comes to a rest, what do you do?
I guess I would. So I did actually see it. Even
yeah.
It's hard to,
oh yeah, you saw it.
It's
just there's something that's happened here, and I think that now you're up close. I'll let you try. Well, actually, now that an 11 would from here. So you remember what this thing looks like before, and it looks kind of like it looks like a canvas-covered wagon, kind of.
Yeah.
Right, and there's straps of leather, and there's there's what do you call it, the rigid kind of wood and metal that is kind of set to form the frame of this thing. But you can see that the fixed wings seem to have had parts of them torn out, and there are gashes in the side where it's as if some enormous thing rent its claws along it.
Ooh.
And even the back, where the back tail is, it seems ragged and scorched. So this thing stops, and all of you kind of are looking at this thing. Anyone who is trained in occultism, you can go ahead and give me a check. Okay. Druk has no clue. Angus, once you see someone moving inside this, you know your mind first goes to like, it's moving, and then you think, wait a minute, is this can't be, and then the hatch kind of is thrown open, and this little like metal series of stairs ka-chink go down, and this little gnome comes out of this thing, and he's wearing some kind of leather armor that has this fur on the inside, and he's got strange goggles on, and he's wearing leather armor that's fringed with fur around the side, and he staggers out. And Angus, you've actually heard of these things before. There's, you've heard tell of magical contraptions that can venture under the water and perhaps even under the ground. It makes sense that this must be just some kind of magical structure. If you're willing to buy a flying city, there must be some kind of flying wagon as well. So this guy staggers out, and Badonk, you recognize that this is Beepo Fizzlecrank. Again, dressed the same way as he was before, but he looks to be staggering a little bit.
Oh no!
Like he gets.
I'll head out right away.
Okay. He kind of looks up, and he's got, there's a scarf that's kind of wrapped around his neck with that trails behind him, and he looks up, and he gets a bit of a smile on his little face too. And he says, "Badonk, it's you, isn't it?"
Beepo, how are you?
"Oh, Badonk, it's so good to see you." And he comes over and he gives you a great big hug. "Oh, it's so good to see you. It's so good to see you." And you can feel like you're actually supporting almost his entire weight right now.
Oh, Beepo, I'll help him into the inn.
Okay. So, you guys see this happen. What do you guys do? What do...
Druk wonders if he's injured.
He which, sorry?
Druk wonders if he's injured.
Give me a perception check here. Or perception or medicine. I'm fine with either. Okay. You don't know from gnomes all that well, because they've got such a wide variety of skin tones, but this guy does look pretty fucking pale. And when he brings his little goggles up, you can see that he's got massive crow's feet and big, like, black bags under his eyes. Has this guy slept in days?
That's probably flew straight here.
Yeah.
I mutter under my breath.
Okay. So you sort of let the obviously once you saw the gnome come out, I guess you let the tension go in your bow. What about
I was going to roll a will save, but Badonk just decided to walk up, so
Yeah.
And put his arm around him and help him. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So every day you see a gnome crawl out of a sky monster. So.
Yeah.
Oh.
What about Angus and Buka? How are they handling this development?
He doesn't look like he's injured or need a healing. He just looks like fatigued.
Oh, Carl, can I get you to either scoot your camera over or scoot yourself over? There you go. Now we see your smiling face. We had a lovely view of the left ear.
Well, my book's to the right.
Oh.
So, yeah, does he look fatigued or he looks injured?
Well, I mean, if you guys are maybe when Badonk is bringing him in, the three of you guys all kind of get together to kind of like mutter to each other. And Druk, I think maybe Druk makes that observation.
Yeah, he mutters and says he must have flew here. He's been flying for days to get here.
Oh wow.
What about Angus? How's he processing this?
Angus really wants to inspect the machine.
doesn't appear to be anyone to stop you.
Yeah, so he's going to go up. He's not going to actually touch it because he's worried that there's, some type of magical, static electricity buildup or whatever.
Yeah.
But he's going to get pretty close and try to figure out what all the parts are made out of.
Okay.
When Angus does that, Druk reaches out a hand and holds his shoulders because I see him as more of a senior henchman, and I'm like, be careful there, Mr. Wizard. It might eat you.
Oh, this isn't gonna eat me.
Okay.
You know what this is? This is a
no.
contraption.
Oh.
I think there's a little sparkle in his eye as he says it too.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess Angus, if you're inspecting this sucker, let me think here. I think either, what is it that you're trying to sort out here? Is it how this thing's put together? Are you just trying to piece together?
I think just kind of what it is and how it works, basically.
Okay, so that sounds to me like a craft roll, not necessarily a perception roll. So why don't you give me a craft roll? Let's see how much you're able to put together. Okay. Now, because this thing is just so exotic, I think the information I gave before about what it's made from and those obvious bits of damage, you're not sure how all this kind of fits together, and even how it's built too. Some of the construction that went into this thing, it's unfathomable. This is indeed some kind of it is indeed some kind of magical contraption. The magic behind this, escapes you. What you can see is that as you get over and you carefully kind of, the little guy, Fizzlecrank, was so exhausted or distracted, he didn't even bother to close the door leading in there. So you're able to kind of to look inside, and what you can see is that there's a little seat in front of some kind of, display. And I'm trying to think if you've ever seen anything like this. The closest you may have, I'm not even sure you've got any frame of reference. There's little glass, almost like windows, or the things that seem to be looking on a bunch of clocks.
Well, I'm guessing that my closest frame of reference is to diagrams within a book and kind of arcane symbols and stuff, and that's probably I don't understand that the dials actually move, but I have some sense that this is a specific symbol that has that kind of meaning.
Yeah. So you're kind of looking in there. What is Buka doing? Druk sounds like he's kind of walking around the place or the thing with Angus. Is Buka heading inside or?
I'm going to go up and talk to the gnome and said, "Are you hurt? Do you need assistance?"
Well, the gnome is headed inside, so that answers my question where you're going. So you're going to follow Badonk and Fizzlecrank inside the what do you call it? The brazen strumpet. So as Badonk, we'll cut to you guys. You sort of pull the door open or throw the door open with one hand while still supporting Beepo with the other one, and the two of you guys kind of stagger into the what do you call it? The brazen strumpet. And as you guys do, the Tacy sort of looks down. She's like, "Huh, you're back!" To Beepo. It's just and Ballo says, Should we be expecting the whole city then? I had to break out extra furniture last time." And Beepo kind of looks up, and says, "Just me this time. It's just me." And he looks at you, Badonk, and I think that because their big round face is so expressive, it's easy for you to read that there's a look of concern on his face, in addition to the look of exhaustion, that we described before. You pretty much drop him down into a chair, and he kind of takes his leather cap off. His hair is all sweaty and matted, and kind of goes up in a funny angle. And
I rush over and get him a drink from the bar.
Sure, yeah. Tacy Baldo quickly gets that for you too. He says, "Does he want something to eat then too?"
Probably, yeah, sure.
Okay. So you race over with a troll-sized pint, and two of you put it in front of him, and he kind of, is still catching his breath, and he leans in and then takes a big drink of it. Doesn't, but he seems to only take one or two good draughts from it. And that's when Buka, you kind of come scampering in and sit down with him as well too. And he sits back and says, Badonk, I'm so glad to see you.
I'm glad to see you too. What on earth is wrong?
Well, we got your message. Or should I say I got your message. There's a lot that's been happening in the last little while. Not good for the doctors. Not at all.
Oh no.
Badonk, it's only because they insisted that I keep the receiver with me that I actually got your message. And even that I had to keep secret. Oh, Badonk, things have changed. And changed so quickly. You know why the doctors hired you, right?
Yeah, there was...
To get their licensing.
Okay, yes, of course.
So they got their licensing. They proved to Wiltar Pack, that Nagpa, that their devices were safe. Safe for use and safe for use within Serene. Well, the first couple of months of their business was quite good. People in Serene having to deal with spectral problems. People in the cities we visited having to deal with spectral problems. Seemed like they were going to make a good go of it. But then there was the accident. Oh, I'm not sure that there's ever a good time. Living amongst our kind, you kind of get used to the idea of explosions going off every now and then. But I'm not sure we've seen such an explosion followed by so many evil things. And as soon as the explosion happened, they all blamed them. They blamed the doctors. And it was that Peck again. Him and his Nagpuff friends. Boy, and after that, it seemed like everyone on the Sky Council threw themselves behind Peck, and they agreed. And that was just the start of it. I don't think it's a coincidence anymore that the people, the councilman from the Pegatars and the councilman from the Fenair both died. Those folks in place now threw themselves in line with the Nagpa. And things are changing in Serene. And the doctors? Well, the doctors, they got him in jail.
They've been put in jail?
They've been put in jail. And I tell you, more and more those Nagpa start taking control. More they're putting in new rules. We gotta turn over inventions to the council for approval. They can take our inventions. And I think they're beginning to arm the squadrons too with new devices. They're phasing out the gnomes that have been part of the Top Ballista program, and they're bringing in goblins.
Goblins?
Goblin mercenaries. We never had goblins living. You know, your kind hates living around us.
Yeah.
It's dangerous times, Badonk. And when I got your message, I knew that that the doctors would want me to get in touch with you. But then, I don't know how they knew it, but they came after me.
Who came after you?
Some of them goblins who are part of the Top Ballista now. Them. And something big with big claws. I didn't get a good look at it, but I knew it had wings and it had claws. I didn't feel like bringing anyone else in with me, and I took the old girl out without permission. Well, that seemed to be enough for the new Sky Council to consider me a traitor. It's only 'cause them goblins don't know how to fly like we do. I was able to outfox them. But, boy, and he looks out the window, the damage to the old girl. Look at that.
Will we even be able to get back to Serene?
Back to Serene.
Well, aren't we going to rescue the doctors?
He gets this, this really weary and kind of surprised look on his face. And he says,
They doctors always said after you left that there's some goblins, but old Badonk, he ain't like them goblins. Boy, were they right. Oh, hi there. I didn't notice you there, feller. My name's Bebo Fizzlecrank. Nice to meet you.
You seem to be feeling better. We thought that you might be injured.
Oh, not injured, just... I didn't have a safe place to lie down, to set this thing down. I've been flying for 2 days straight.
This is my friend Buka.
Yep. So maybe you just need some good ale and some good stew.
yeah, and I think Tacey comes up at that point and places down a plate of food in front of him. And
He says, oh, thank you there, missy.
he starts tucking into the food.
So, we got some problems. I think the old girl might take us, but if it's just us, we're tiny. And I don't know how many of your friends might want to come too. Is Mr. West around still?
Wes is currently otherwise occupied.
Oh. Well, hopefully he can come as well. But I don't even have a plan right now. How are we going to get ourselves back in there? If I go back there, they're going to throw me in the jail as well. But I think there's something going on there. That accident. I don't think it was an accident, if you take my meaning.
Mm-hmm.
We gnomes say there's intended explosions and there's unintended explosions. And then there's the intended unintended explosions. I feel that this one falls in the first category, if you take my meaning.
I do get your meaning.
Boy, those two friends of yours, they never seen they never seen a sky carriage, have they?
No, they have not. Most around here have never seen anything like that.
No, I imagine not. Well, you know the worst thing? It's not just the top ballista. I've heard rumors that the Nagba have been working on something that's gonna arm Serene. The reason we get to go where we go, and the reason we're able to go and be welcome in so many places, is we're not cruising around like some kind of mobile army. If they arm it, they can go where they want, they can do what they want, and they can leave whenever they want. It's been a bad winter so far, Badonk.
Yeah.
How's yours been?
Sounds like it. It's been pretty cold and horrible here. Lots of trouble, lots of issues here in the Barrow.
Badonk, I'm sorry. I've been so concerned with my own problems, I didn't even think to ask. Why did you contact the doctors again? Did you want to talk to them? Were you missing us?
We were looking to secure more of their devices.
More of their devices? Have you been having more problems with ghosts here?
Yeah, lots of problems.
Lots of problems. Well, that ain't good. We've been having problems with them too, though. Wiltar kept saying that it was the doctors who kept letting things loose. I think they were bringing things to Serene to blame the doctors.
Crazy. Who would do such a thing?
I don't know. Well, I do know. Or at least I got a suspicion. It's Peck and those Nagpa.
What are Nagpa?
You've never seen a Nagpa before?
I don't think so.
Well, you can... If you took a buzzard and you put its head on a hunched over man and you gave it a bad attitude, you'd get close to what an egg pot is.
Carl, if you picture Skeksis, that's what an egg pot is. Yeah.
They caused trouble for me and Wes last time we were in Serene. I'm not surprised that they're behind more trouble for the doctors.
That's right, they were causing troubles for you. But I wonder why did they take an interest in you two?
Well, Wes had an item that they were interested in.
What kind of item was that?
Remember the cursed item that we were trying to get the doctor's help to get removed?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And you met with Pesachet,
Yes, we did.
the Sphinx.
That was quite the adventure.
Yeah. They're even talking about bylaws out restricting what Sphinxes can do.
Things have gotten out of hand in Serene.
It seems like it went so bad so fast. It doesn't feel like home anymore.
I will say, like, Angus and Druk, you guys can have come in at this point too. So if you guys want to join the conversation, you can see the little guy is taking his leather armor off, and he's eating some food and seems to be talking to Buka and Badonk.
Yeah, Duke will get tired really quickly of just poking it with an arrow and it not responding. So
He's which? Sorry.
he's probably getting tired of poking it with an arrow and nothing happening.
Yeah.
Badonk will do introduction.
Okay.
Mr. Drew, pleasure to meet you. Mr. Angus, a pleasure to meet you.
And they'll sort of recount. So there's some trouble with the doctors. They've been put in prison. Sounds like they've been framed.
I do not know who the doctors are.
They're the ones who are going to provide us with the devices we need.
So they're important. Got it. We should save them.
I think if we were able to rescue them, they would be happy to give us some devices as payment for rescue.
Rescuing them will be tricky and take some careful planning, though. With how you folks handled things last time, I tell you, that Pegatar family that you returned that sword to, they still sing your praises.
Well, we're happy to help. Hopefully we can solve this one.
So, how do you propose to go about solving this? I'm really just a driver. I shuttle people up and down, and I keep that thing in the air.
Well, do you know where in Serene they're locked up?
I do. It's in the jail. In the Tower of Justice.
Maybe if we were to get into Serene, we could surveil the location and try to develop a plan from there. It's pretty hard to come up with a plan sight unseen
I agree.
and not knowing what we're up against.
Very true.
So, I can fly. If I can get that thing patched up, I can fly us back there. But as I said, as soon as I land, they're going to arrest me and impound my sky carriage. Although,
He kind of strokes his little chin.
if they arrest me, they wouldn't immediately search the sky carriage. I could smuggle you in as cargo. Do you think you could sneak your way out of impound?
I think so.
Because once you're up there, now that there's so many goblins up there, if you put a uniform on you, no one would know the wiser. Most of people can't tell the difference between you.
Yeah, it happens.
You little guy, you with a little bit of extra clothing, you could pass for a gnome, I think. Not quite as handsome, but we all have our burdens. And for you, but for you two,
Oh, you're saying that you're not quite as handsome, so it'd be a challenge. I understand.
I see. The halfling verbal duels are as good as I've heard. But you
Here, have
two,
5 feet. Oh wait, wrong.
holy smokes. I'm not sure which of you is the bigger one, but both of you are way too big.
Drew scratches his chin and says, "Well, I am a druid, so I can turn into a little inconspicuous animal form for about 10 minutes to get where I need to go."
Well, that covers 10 minutes of your day, but how are we going to hide you for the rest of it? Since the changes in the council, too, they've cut down on the number of visitors, too. Which, again, like, the city's always been open to any comer. This is just... How... You two, you big un. I don't even think with some work we could get you to look like a phenar. Maybe we could attach the bottom of a horse to you there, Angus? You might pass for a pegatar.
We could. What if we find a vulture head?
A nagpa.
We
Well,
chose.
if you'd have to make it a giant vulture to fit their size. And Badonk knows, like, the Nagpa are actually about, like, man-sized as well, too, so they are quite, big and tall. Well, do you guys have any ideas that you want to throw out? How you guys could smuggle yourselves into Serene?
Well, getting in would be easy, but staying hidden and undiscovered, not so much.
I got to run to the washroom very quickly, guys. I'm sorry. Drank way too much tea, but you guys talk it over. I'll be right back.
Well, if he can fly us, I guess that's the challenge.
Yeah.
No one has any disguise capabilities or anything?
Angus, I've heard that mages can alter their appearance.
Yeah, Druk is he's a stealthy. He's good at stealthing and hunting people down, but as far as deceiving people, nah, he's not an assassin.
Well, there will definitely be some assassination required.
Right.
No, I can hit things hard, but disguising myself is not one of my strong suits.
Yeah. I don't see that there is an actual disguise skill.
I think it uses deception.
Yeah.
Under
Oh,
thievery.
you use deception? Okay. I am not great at deception.
Yeah, no.
Good
My
at stealth.
charismatic character is the other one.
I can turn into a little monster for a little bit.
Maybe our best bet is to get some papers and forge them to say we can be here. No, bribe one of the guys at the post.
I think the best way is to either, just sneak a way around.
So wait, to be clear, Buka, you're a halfling?
Yep.
And Angus and Druk, you're both humans?
Well, I'm half human,
Groot
Oh.
is a half-
He's a half-orc?
Yeah.
half orc.
Okay. Well, if Badonk was able to get his hands on a uniform, I guess we could do the old fake prisoner tactic. Pretend you guys are prisoners
Mm-hmm.
and try and get into the jail from there.
Sounds about right.
I mean, if there are bars in the windows, I could get into the jail. It's just at that point.
Right.
So if you're able to get in the jail, what will be the plan from there?
Let's see, if I could get in there in animal form, I could probably lift some keys off a guard. I'm sneaky enough probably to do that, and then get them in. But I don't think I can stay undercover as my normal self because I'd stand out too much. So I think that's doable. Turn into some kind of bird, fly into the jail, grab some keys, get you the keys.
I don't know if you're high enough level to turn into a bird.
Oh, I can turn into like a pest form or something.
Right, but I think the pest can't fly. I can't remember. It's wrong because I know they restrict that stuff in other versions of D&D. I actually can't remember one way or the other whether pest form can fly or whether it's a crawling, walking thing.
Well, let's find out.
Yeah, it's just a plan. So, Angus, what about you? Any ideas as to...
Oh yeah, you're right. It's not flying's locked off for a little higher level.
Okay.
I can still turn into a rat and get in there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, rats can climb.
Yep.
The fake prisoner thing sounded like the best option that we could come up with.
And then we play it by ear as we go. That's the
Or we hope that the doctors have come up with
A plan while they've got some time, spent thinking in the prison.
Okay.
Like if we can get them out of their cell.
Yeah, get them out of their cell and then see what they suggest.
Mm-hmm.
Or just run and fight our way out.
That does not sound like a good idea.
Fight our way back to their plane and try to escape, but then we get out of there without our devices that we need.
Yeah.
The gnome said you had allies among the Pegatar.
Oh, yeah, potentially.
They fly, I presume.
They do. If you picture basically a centaur with wings, that is a Pigatar.
That is weird.
Mm.
But I mean, a friendly relationship is a big difference, I think, between catching a ride into the prison on their backs than, we could try. They're very aloof and I don't know.
What Badonk remembers about the thing too, like the species you saw there, kind of living all in amongst each other. There are harpies, there are Pegatar, there are that strange like elf and bird hybrid called Phenar that live there. There are gremlins, strangely everywhere where there's the machinery. There are sky gnomes. There are the Nagpa. There are sphinxes. There's a whole area full of sphinxes that live there as well. And I think that's it. Let's see. I'm forgetting everyone. And now there appears to be goblins as well, which is unusual.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Harpies, Nagpa, sphinxes. Yeah. Gnomes, gremlins. And...
So what's their attitude towards humans?
Which is Serene?
Yeah.
Well, Serene, I mean, what you saw before, or your previous experience with it, was largely kind of like a flying theme park. You remember there was those sky gondolas that took you around the city. It had all sorts of like tourist trap kind of stuff in it, and then it had some like kind of an undercity where a lot of the construction and whatnot operated. So
it's not like we need to blend in. Like once we're in the city, it should be fine.
Yeah.
To just move about and survey and figure out what's going on.
So you said there's like carnival themed stuff going on. Is there a way we can get talk to one of those I don't know, like a traveling circus that goes there and get our way in that way? Just
well,
few days?
What Beepo is saying is that ever since there's been the change in the council, that's not it's no longer the open, welcoming place it was. It's the council now seems to be arming the city itself, as well as bringing in a whole different crew for the top ballista. Top ballista is the kind of elite flying, what do you call it? Flying units. Let me bring you over here so you guys can, I think, between Badonk and Beepo, you can kind of give you an idea of what Serene looks like. So give me a check here. I'll show you what the layout looks like. Boom. Get that off. Let me bring you over here. Gentlemen, welcome to Serene.
Yeah.
So this is
it's a huge place.
The flying city. But what he said is that things since in the last few months, ever since the accident, there's been a dramatic shift in how things have been in Serene. So they're not stopping off to welcome people. They seem to be running secret projects. that the council is approving for some reason. The Nagpa traditionally do not run Serene. It's traditionally the gnomes. But for some reason, this, ever since the mishap or the accident, there's been a great deal of resentment towards the gnomes that the Nagpa seem to have exploited, and now they seem to be, calling the shots at a lot of stuff. And what was basically a flying, tourist destination is being transformed into something much more sinister.
Which I don't think we're powerful enough to get involved in what's going on there.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, we're just going to go in and out and try to rescue these guys and then figure it out.
Rescue them. They may want help getting off of Serene at this point. So rescue them, get back to their lab, get their stuff, and get off the ship, because they are obviously not welcome there if they're being put in prison.
Where's the jail on this map?
That is something new. Give me a sec here. I'm just trying to find it for you.
Over here, like, going Mission Impossible themed. I'm like, so if one of us jumps out of the airplane and terminal velocity and aims for the tower and casts Featherfall at the last second, we can land on it. Which is part of my spell list. I can prepare it.
Nice.
I just, judging, 600 feet versus a last split second.
Ah, interesting. You know what is there? At 42. Where is it here? 42. Yes. So that is the Onyx Tower. The Onyx Tower is a 4-story building, 75 feet tall, with basements. That's home to a group of human mages. And they receive training. That might be one way to describe yourself. Or to disguise yourself. Is as the is as mages. That will be a stretch for you, Angus, but okay, let's see here. Immigration control, imperial hostelry.
Uniforms for them.
Go a second. Council offices. There we go. It is the Tower of Justice is located right here at 24.
Okay, not too far off then. Probably have to go through a manned gate to get there for already in the city.
Yeah, and across from there is the Museum of Gnomish Crafts. I think you may have been through there, Badonk, under the impression that it was a place full of devices used to torture goblins.
Yeah.
At 27 is the Museum of Culture. So tapestries and things like that. So, I mean, like Beepo, this is not the only way to gain access to to Serene. If you guys have a different suggestion for how you're going to get yourselves on there, he's happy to take your advice.
Is there such a thing as a parachute?
There is, yeah. All the sky wagons or sky carriages are equipped with that.
I'm pretty sure that they're going to see that, and probably that lightning gun or fireball gun or magic missile gun is going to be a problem.
Well, I mean, we could do it at night.
That's true, but I don't know. The Flying City, Magic City, I'm pretty sure they're going to see it.
Well, they control, like, it's like, imagine where they're like most of the airplanes in the whole world, though, right, Kath?
Oh yeah, like it's an unknown. These devices, these constructions, or these contraptions, they are not known anywhere else.
Right. So it's not like you're expecting an aerial attack.
There may be like one special thing that was in the city of Thyatis, or to be honest, it's actually near Ratibia, where there's a specific whole military unit that is all flying things.
Beepo.
Yes.
Do they have ways of shooting assailants out of the sky at night if we try to go in by cover of air?
You mean jump out and float down?
Yes. Would they be expecting something like that in the dead of night?
No. I mean, Serene's always been open to anybody coming. So we don't have any sort of, or we haven't had any sort of air defenses. So, yeah. And as all whatever changes they're making to the armament on Serene, that's not in place yet.
Okay, so aerial is that's an option at nighttime.
It could. I
Do you
think
know of a place in the city where we could probably get in unseen?
if you wear a save me chute, I think they might see that. We have some on the old girl. You could bring that with you.
Probably a good idea.
It's just that will be more conspicuous. Have you used a save me chute before?
I'm gonna go on a limb and say no.
Ah,
No.
I usually rely on magic to stop me from
Are
hitting
they-
the ground real hard.
it's the peak of gnome craftsmanship. It's a pretty safe thing. You just jump out of the old sky wagon and then you shout out, "Save me!" And then it comes out, and you'll drift down to safety.
Can you control it kind of where you land, or are you at the whims of the wind and the pull of...
You can control it in the sense that you're going to land on the ground, but much of the else is otherwise somewhat in the air, as they say. Sorry, a little pilot humor there.
Yeah, maybe the little ones can wear a save me chute. Angus, do you know how to arrest your fall when you fall from the sky?
Like featherfall.
Yes, if that's what you wizards call it.
I'm more of the make my sword glow and smack things extra hard with it sort of wizard.
So he's gonna need a save me
Wait a
chute.
minute, you're a wizard?
Yes.
He looks up and down. Whew.
It's you got to see the spell book at his waist. That's how you know.
Oh,
That's funny.
you grow your wizards big here.
Angus is special.
A special wizard. Well, if you're willing to come along with us, I'm glad to have you with us, special wizard. What about you, Buka? What skills do you bring to the team?
I blow things up and turn into a monster.
I like this happening.
Are you sure you're not a gnome? Do you have
Yeah,
gnomish
looks like
blood in you?
I'm too good looking to be a gnome.
Huh. Oh, if only you had both our...
I guess I'm what they call an alchemist.
An
But
alchemist.
just starting out.
So a chemist. Interesting.
That's what you call it?
It's our gnomish word. So, then...
And what we're going to assume, guys, is that everyone else who, everyone else's character who's part of this sort of, unit, they're going to be they'll be, transported along and just go along with you guys. So wherever you find yourself, that's where we'll have everyone else when they jump in.
That thing gonna hold all of us?
The old girl?
Yeah.
Mr. Druk, that is a Smurfy Lodestar F3F Cloud Clipper. We could hold half your town and have no problem.
And he kind of looks out the window again and sees the tattered shape it's in. He's like,
Well, at least when it's operating properly. The one thing I can't figure out is how they knew I was going. How they knew how to find me.
The way I try to find people when my natural skills fail is I rely on magic.
Do they have some sort of magic maybe to track you?
Yeah. Have you checked it?
The Nagpa are quite powerful themselves. But I don't know what's going on. I've heard some sinister things. I don't like to indulge in gossip, mind you. But we've heard some things about the master of the Onyx Tower. The wizard that runs that. He's from a place that we tend to skip over. A place called Galantry. Have you been to Galantry?
Unfortunately.
I try to say no.
Never heard of it.
Oh,
No. Emphatically, no.
Never, eh? Well, it's a...
You can see if I'm lying. Doesn't
I
matter.
think...
probably
no,
like-
so if you're trying to actively lie, then you go ahead and make the roll. Give me a deception roll. It'll be against his perception as a DC.
Yeah, and that's where I was enslaved.
Mm-hmm. Nat 1.
And he uses hero point to reroll that crap.
So what is it? What's his blatantly obvious lie look like?
Well, at first he's probably like fidgeting because he's like, you know, remembering the shackles on his hands and feet, or maybe when he was hit with the switch a few times on his back. But then he probably like starts scratching the table and wants to reach for his like bestial mutagen that starts pissing him off so much.
Okay. So he kind of looks at you.
I say I have a special concoction for that wizard.
A wizard.
I've never been there.
Yeah.
He's not sure he believes you, but I think he's tactful. He's tactful enough to not, you know, bring it. It's clearly, you know, with a nat 1, you're like, no, I've never been. Of course I've never been. What I've been. What'd you call it? Grantry? No, I don't know Grantry. Grantry, not at all. Nope, never been. Can I get another drink, please? Angus, you're equally. Oh no, you didn't. I can't remember. Have you been there? Is that where you're from, or?
Well, I'm from Clantier, which.
Oh,
is
so you are from
right-
Clantier. Yeah. So give me a deception roll. See how successful you are at lying.
Oh, I said unfortunately.
Oh, you have. Oh, unfortunately.
He says, so then you know what they do to our kind there. And I take it from, you know, someone kind of nods in Buka's direction, his big head, you know, those kind too. Not a nice place, but one of them talked his way in. Eric Helsing is his name. And Eric Helsing, I don't know. I just don't know.
It has the sound of a vampire hunter to it.
So, what do you say, guys?
Well, I'm up to seeing a flying city. Do we got to fix your bird, though?
We do. I'll need some access to some leather, some canvas, and then I managed to sneak the tools aboard. But an extra pair of hands would be helpful. If you can.
Magical?
I can try. I've not had much luck with making things.
Is it magical, or does it just run off technology?
Oh no, it's just there's no magic in there. It's just
Good,
a real.
I can cast mending on it then.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can do it 2 or 3 times.
You're a Oh, you said you're one of them primal wizards.
Yeah, well, it's a druid, ally of nature, shifter of forms. I don't do the finger wavy symbol stuff.
Okay, I see. Oh, what about you, Mr. Badonk?
I'm ready. I'm ready to help the boys.
Okay. Well then, let's get the old girl going, and then no time like we're wasting though. We're gonna want to be careful as we get in close. They've been having patrols ride around there. They say it's practice for the goblin pilots, but I think they're just trying to prevent people from coming in. So, let's get to work. And he kind of, stands up, and then he, wobbles for a second, and then kind of passes out in the chair. And
That's all right, little one. I've got to prep my spells in the morning anyway, so get your rest.
Oh, he's so out cold. He's had a full troll-size pint. He's been up for 2 days. He's been talking to you guys for probably an hour or so. He is completely, he falls asleep in the chair. So, what is the approach here then, guys? I heard a suggestion for you guys parachuting in or safety shooting in, or save me shooting in.
What do you guys think? You want to land the plane and get our last gnome friend arrested and then try and bust them all out from there, or do you want to parachute in?
I'd rather go the sneaky way.
Yeah, sneak in.
Do you guys have access to any other?
That sounds more fun.
Okay.
Access to what?
Well, to any other abilities or whatnot that you think you might be able to, or devices that you could use to try and access this place.
Yeah, Juke is not good at deception. He's not really good at crafting, and he is not good at shoveling snow. So there's no. He opts for stealth.
Okay. What are the rest of you guys? Oh, go ahead, Jeff.
I mean, stealth is probably Bedonk's best skill for this. Other than maybe acrobatics and climbing up the tower to try and get in that way.
Okay.
But,
I mean, I got. Oh wow! I got fire, acid. If we run into poison, I can help. I got a little bit of healing. I can help us see, or whoever the best person is, or maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
No, I can draw alchemical items, right? So anyone can use them. They're consumable. How does that work?
You mean the things that you create?
Yeah.
You have to take a look. You're playing the alchemist, not me. So you should.
Yeah, I think the mutagens are no, but the elixirs.
Yeah, the mutagens they just have a negative effect. I think they have to make a save or they take the negative effect. The other things, I think.
No, they don't get a save.
I don't think it's like first edition where you have to hold on to it. I think you can pass it off safely. But
First edition, alchemists had to get infusion talents for other people to use them. So.
Yeah, I think they've relaxed the requirements on that. Let's take a look here.
I'm sure none of you want any venom, but I've been able to collect giant centipede venom. To know how.
I'm not against using poison. Druk is neutral.
what if we... Yeah, well, what if... Does anyone know how to make, like, a sleep potion?
Well, maybe our wizard friend can cast sleep? I don't know.
Well, I mean, if we could, if we poisoned, like, a barrel of beer and we brought it to the prison and sort of gifted it to the goblins, they're not the brightest crew. They may just drink our little barrel of beer and then put themselves to sleep and
poison with giant centipede venom.
That'd be a little more evil if we poison them all, but
so Carl, looking under advanced alchemy, it says that the infusions stay good for 24 hours. So the things that you craft like as your morning prep or whatever, that stuff you seem to be able to pass around.
Okay, and then just the quick ones I can't.
Yeah,
I think.
I don't know if you can hand them out, but I mean, I think they need to be used pretty much immediately too, don't they?
I believe so.
Yeah. So that would prevent you from passing it around. Okay, so then we, I guess, can cut to a montage of repairing this the sky clipper or cloud clipper.
Yeah, it looks like Drew can only mend small items at a time. So if he wants to pass me over things that need just, I imagine Drew could be like running his finger along, like welding it a little bit, or with like cloth or something. It'll be like thorn stitching and.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, and it's how many first level spells per day do you have?
I think I have 3 at second level.
3. Okay, so it's. I mean, that's 10 hit points worth of stuff you can repair each time. So.
5 each time, I think.
No, it's 5 per level, isn't it?
Spell level, and it's only a first level spell right now. So.
Is it 5 per spell level? Are you sure about that?
I'm pretty sure.
So I was just looking at mending a moment ago. I didn't think 5 per spell level. You're right. Yeah.
And MJ Frog will cheer us along by singing.
Nice.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey.
Oh no, frogs.
Again, I remind everyone. Remember, the mother is watching.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know the mother you're talking about. Why bring up the mother?
Okay.
There.
The mother of toads. She's the coolest.
So what is I sorry, forgive my
Buko like her?
What's that?
Does Buko like her or what?
Buka got a little shiny toad from her.
yeah. Well, I guess yeah, Jeff.
I have like a shiny toad with two different color eyes.
Biochromatic.
Actually, it's a frog. It's a frog. You said it was smooth like a frog, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he used to. So he used to have a little. His alchemical, whatever familiar was this like talking turnip thing, and he gave that as a tribute to the mother of toads, and as kind of a gift or a thank you, she had this strange toad with different colored eyes. It's or strange frog. It hopped onto his shoulder and became his familiar.
Yeah.
Oh, crazy. Okay.
Yep. So we like exchange gifts. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
And you guys are married now?
Now.
Yeah. I don't know if that's the first date or you're married. I don't know how.
I also have like a ragged looking cloak.
Well, how do you think that froglings came about? Halflings.
We can hop.
Mother of Toad likes to fuck. All right. So, what are you guys? So, what is the actual? When you say stealth, is it you're gonna sneak inside the crates kind of thing, or what?
I thought we were gonna like parachute out.
Parachute in the middle of the night, sneak around, and
Okay.
something like that.
So if we go with that plan, potentially we could signal. So if we parachute in, we break out the guys, we sneak through Serene to their lab, get their stuff, then we could potentially signal. What's his name?
Signal.
Debo.
Beepo.
And he could like land on the landing strip, and we could all just like pile in. Like he wouldn't even stop completely. We would all just pile in the plane and take off again.
Yeah.
They'd probably be chasing us, but
Probably.
we could at least like
we-
get out of there. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, he got your signal from the rotary thing. Can we reuse it again to summon him?
yeah, probably. Yeah, so we already have a little device we can use.
But we have to find a way of coordinating his arrival because we won't know exactly when.
Right. Well, we'd have to like get close to the landing strip and be hidden, and then see him approaching, and like I said, run out on the landing strip and just jump in the plane while he's coming along there.
Ooh, I
That
see.
is such a bad idea. I like it.
Oh yeah, it's so.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like wild geese and Michigan. Just please, if we do this, please remind Buka to be a little beast boy when we do this, because I do not run very well unless I'm a beast.
I can pick you up.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep, we will do that.
So, what Beepo will tell you as well too is you can sort of you really can't control where you're going to land necessarily with the save me shoot. So I think in keeping with the old school aesthetic of the game, what I'll probably do, guys, is I will lay out the actual map of Serene.
Yeah.
And then I will drop dice down, and where they fall, that's where you guys will land.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
I'm wondering if Drew could do like the whole like vertical zzzz, and then feather fall and then try to land where he wants, but I don't know. Maybe save that spell.
Yeah.
I need to jump off the edge of Serene and get away, maybe.
Yeah, and like where it's currently drifting is apparently over some mountain range, too. So like if you miss it, it's going to be an unpleasant landing, and if you survive the unpleasant landing, it will not be a pleasant landscape that you'll find yourself in.
Yeah, but a brief moment of I survived.
Yeah, hooray! Oh, those are Yetis. Okay, cool. So then that's and I don't mean to dissuade you from that task. If you're trying to judge whether he thinks this will go off, even going down with the shoots, the save me shoots deployed, there is a chance of you guys getting spotted unless you do something else, like it's magic or whatever. But I mean, like generally, the people in Serene, they're so used to shit flying overhead that often they're not necessarily like it won't draw their eye.
Okay.
In the same way that you don't walk down the street doing this constantly. you know.
And this
Unless
place
you
is
got
like well lit at night, right? Isn't it?
It is. They have magical lanterns, and there's also the sky gondolas, or what you see going around here. Those, yeah,
We'll know what to aim for when we jump. Okay.
yeah.
Right, but I mean, there still will be a point when the city is mostly asleep.
Yes, yeah, because a lot of these, yeah. Oh,
And,
and
you know,
at nighttime,
there will be guards up and stuff, but like, you know,
Yep.
it's a big place.
it's definitely a solid. Yeah, the chance of success here is pretty solid.
Right.
Pretty exciting too. Like, you know, Mission
It's also
Impossible.
pretty exciting. I think we just go for it.
Yeah. You know
What
what?
are you going for, right?
Hold on, there might be one more option here. Hold on, let me just see.
I have a backup character. It's okay.
Yeah, like,
This is my backup character.
have Badonk go down.
Seems like if we're gonna paradrop in, we might want to do sort of like real paratroopers and have our buddy who knows the place draw us as detailed a map as he can, and everybody memorize it so that we can have a place to meet up when.
Absolutely, that's a great idea.
Interesting question. So, where do you guys think you would meet up?
But what is our objective? Which is the tower they're at?
They're
42.
they're stuck right here.
Yeah, near Shops Row,
What's
and
Sky chair stop? Is that like a slum?
no, that's the Pegatar Eries. That's so the Pegatar. The different neighborhoods here are there's the upper class residential quarter. There's the artisans quarter over here. There's Science Park, also known as Boomberg.
Which is where the guy's office was?
Yeah, they're
I mean, this is not a bad place to target, because if we get stuck in the sky chair, at least presumably we might have allies there.
if you land on the sky chair is run through a magical dynamo that powers the gondolas going along. There are warning labels that Badonk remembers seeing, or warning signs: do not grasp the gondola wire.
Oh, that's this thing here, right? This.
Yeah, the sky chairs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I thought those were walls. So it's like, this is weird.
Yo, sorry,
So-
that's the sky chairs. That kind of like, bring here. This is illustration of what the sky chairs are kind of like.
Cool.
Oh, it's like a monorail. Oh, not monorail. Like a ski lift.
It is. It's honestly like the gondolas that take you around Disney World or
Oh, yeah,
Disneyland.
okay.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's like this. What looks like a little road. Is that what that?
Yeah, it just carries you around. There's different stops you can have where you can get on and get off. Tourists like to use it to kind of see the city, and then people working. There's sky chairs that will transport the artisans in for work if they're going to work, and so forth.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Well, this is our objective, so maybe we should. Right. Like the market looks like a place we could hide.
Yeah, it's just I'm thinking if we're getting chased by guards and we need to like duck out and meet up, I don't think leading the guards to where our objective is a good idea.
You know what I'll do, guys, is whatever you decide to be the drop zone, that's where I'll hold the dice over.
Okay.
Let's try. Want to try the Plaza of Triumph? It's a big
What-
open area.
What's over there?
What's this right here? This brick looking.
That is what the sign outside says, the Museum of Gnomish Crafts, but Badonk tells you that it's the Museum of Goblin Torture. Oh, one thing we established. Sorry, guys. Jeff's the only one who played in the first chapter of the campaign. What we established is that the reason there's animosity between gnomes and goblins is because goblins all think that every gnomish device is designed to torture goblins.
Well, it's because goblins bring it upon themselves by messing with the devices. Just,
That's the last place they would expect a goblin to land.
Yeah.
Museum of Goblin Torture Devices.
Yeah, Fort Badonk.
The problem with that is, I'm thinking, like, if number 42 there is the tower where they're held, that's probably the place with the most guards and the most eyes on the city.
42 is the Onyx Tower. That's where the mages are.
Yeah.
Oh, that's where the majors are. Which one's the jail?
24.
24.
Oh, 24.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But I'm just thinking, like, there's going to be a lot of eyes around here. If we land somewhere, like, in the general city.
That's like so much problem for, anyway, getting caught. I think the Plaza. What's the Plaza of Triumph? What is?
Plaza of
like
Triumph is the military square. Military marching parade used by the City Watch for marching, and Pegatars give displays of synchronized flybys here.
What about the tumbling fields?
The which? The picnic fields?
tumbling fields
Oh, the
Tumbling
tumbling fields.
or hanging gardens, I guess.
So the tumbling fields are areas of artificial zero gravity that can be accessed via gates.
Okay.
And let's see here.
Or maybe we could target the Great Library, so then when we drop the dice, it can still fall in the city. I feel like if we try to target the abandoned launch pad, which might be abandoned, it'll fall off.
Yeah, like there's exactly. You might miss the ship.
So the Great Library is about because Badonk remembers this because it really dominates the skyline. It soars 280 feet into the air with 14 floors.
Doesn't sound like a good spot.
Not a good spot.
How do you guys feel about swimming? What if we aimed for the lake and the picnic fields?
Yeah, we could probably sneak around this way to get where we need to go.
Yeah, like then we
fine.
can through the gardens and get there.
Yeah. What do hanging gardens mean? Is it just...
The hanging gardens are...
They're like a
Spectacular gardens have samples of all plants that can live at heights. Some of the plants are magically suspended mid-air, fed by air sacs, which absorb nutrients. They're attended by gnomes and pegatars, pegatar druids.
I want to land there.
Yeah, let's
like if we aim, somewhere by the
near the labor quarter, so we could hide around.
The lake and the hanging gardens.
Yeah, and so our rendezvous point could be right over here.
Right.
Like we aim for this
Uh-huh.
area and hope to land in one of those 3 safe-looking things.
You're dropping D4s, right, Kevin?
Yeah, good. Well, you know what I'm doing is I'm going to be thinking of because I like the idea of a risk-reward thing for you guys to determine how high my hands are going to be. It'd be the likelihood of Beepo actually being spotted.
Yeah, I'd rather. Oh man, if we're gonna go really high, I'm gonna feather fall in at the last second. Nothing on that parachute.
You're gonna Mission Impossible it.
I'm a druid. I don't trust technology. No.
Okay, well, sounds like you guys have a plan. It sounds like the Hanging Gardens is where you're going to be, helo dropping into from your, what do you call it, from the Cloud Clipper or Cloud?
Do time to do this today? Because
Probably not.
4 minutes.
No.
If we do, it's gonna end on a cliffhanger. So.
Yeah, it is ending on well, we're not on a cliffhanger this time. I think we're ending on the prospect of flying back to Serene and parachuting in at night. Now, I guess the other thing is, do you want to try and push the Clipper? Well, we got to give a name to this thing too. Do any of you guys have a cool name for Beepo's? What do you call it? His Cloud Clipper?
Gotta be something. There's gotta be something like complex and gnomish.
Yeah, it's got to be what do you call it, like the Gumball Express or something like that.
Yeah, more than that. Something like, if it was going to be Gnomish Express, like Gnomish Express Mark II Model 4000 or something.
Well, it has a model number already. That whole Cloud Clipper name, that's what the model of this thing is. It's the name of this specific thing. I think you guys are having to repaint the side of it anyway because of the damage. So you're going to be able to put a little, he tells you that for luck. They always put a little thing on the side.
We could also make it a little darker. So it doesn't.
What it is basically if you picture like the the nose of a World War II era bomber, that's the kind of little illustration that you can put on there. What do you guys think you're going to put on this now reconstructed Cloud Clipper? Night Watcher is fantastic.
A frog holding.
Night Watcher. Oh, that's great. Okay, so then what's the sort of like little mascot for the Night Watcher?
Oh, it's a black toad.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
That'd be a good one.
Yeah, love it. So we end our montage of you guys getting stuff ready and packing your supplies and stuff like that, with a lot of you sitting back, and he's kind of surveying the thing. We got the two big half orc and the human standing next to him, and he looks up.
For a bunch of big fellas, you did a really good job on this thing. The Night Watcher. Good name for her. You served me well, little lady. Let's see if we can get you back home.
Not too soon. We want you to get away.
Oh, we're gonna get him in there.
Oh yeah, if you guys, is the plan to fly there, drop you in, notify him somehow, and then get picked up by him, and then fly back to Helix, or what?
I think we should time this to where it happens at nightfall. So we spend most of the day just trying to get him, and like 2 hours before dawn is when he readies himself to come get us.
Yeah.
And we'll send him the little bird thing to let him know that we're ready, and we'll be ready for you to get here.
Sounds good.
And the landing strip is we're just gonna run to the landing strip and.
Yeah, and if he doesn't hear from us, next night come back.
Okay.
So he doesn't have to circle for days and days and hope to get caught. So.
Okay. Well, you can't. I mean, the thing does. I don't think it runs on like fuel or anything like that. But there is like a magical or a gnomish tech crank that needs to be sort of wound up while it's not in motion. So it will have to land at some point in order to. But it can fly 2 days with it. So you can fly straight there 2 days, or you can fly to a sort of spot and land, and then kind of spend 2 days of him circling around, trying not to be spotted by the goblin biplanes.
I'm thinking he can, when he drops us off, he immediately flies away and finds a place to land to charge it up. And then the next night, he's not too far away. He can come in like 2 hours before dawn and start circling and waiting for our signal.
Okay,
and
that sounds
the
great.
moment dawn is starting to happen, he needs to get away. Because if he hadn't heard from us, then it's best for him not to come. And
Awesome. Okay, so let's leave it there, guys. Well, actually, hold on. I do have a cliffhanger for you. So everyone kind of nods, and it's probably the end of day. They're like, first thing tomorrow morning, we'll set out, boys. Make sure you dress warm. It can get a little chilly up there. And y'all are heading in and kind of like, ha ha ha, joking. And last thing that he says is,
Oh, we gotta get a bottle of something to crack over the nose. That's good luck. We don't want to have bad luck on this trip.
and you guys head inside. And our camera kind of pans up into the cloud-covered sky. We can see an enormous black winged shadow passes overhead. And that's where we will leave things. So, for those listening at home, we got Flame and Brian joined us in chat again today. Hey guys! Let's see, any questions here? Snow clothes, snowshoes. Oh, and Shanti was here too. Hey Shanti, hope you're feeling better, bud. He's been sick the last little while. Let's see here. Flame wants to know if this is the Angus who was interrogated by the secret police in Galantry. He was not. At least not the scene from our Galantry campaign yet. Yeah. So for those listening at home, thank you so much for joining us for this session leading up to a return, a triumphant but perhaps kind of scary return to the flying city of Serene, as always, if you have any... Oh, and I will say also, just at the outset, so the flying city of Serene is a creation of the late Carl Sargent, a really terrific and inventive game designer who unfortunately passed away last year. Carl was a very prolific creator for a number of different like 80s and early 90s role-playing games. He was also a parapsychologist. So these, as with last year, this series of adventures are all going to be dedicated to Carl Sargent and his incredibly inventive imagination. So you can actually find a copy also if you want to check out Top Ballista. Very, very cheap on Drive-Thru RPG, and it's such a crazy product. It is more compatible with OSR stuff than it is with more modern games, but it's very, very easily adaptable too. But if you do play an OSR game, particularly BXD&D, there's rules for playing Sphinxes and flying and Pegatars and all sorts of crazy shit in here. So it's a really cool product. Anyway, Let's see here. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, or you want to comment on how awesome the characters played there, or the players played their characters today, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below, and we will endeavor to reply in a timely fashion. In addition, you can reach me on Twitter at Dungeon Musings. You can reach me by email. My email address is dungeonmusings@gmail.com. You can also join us on the Dungeon Musings Discord server, which you can find a link to in the description of the video. We have a channel dedicated to the Barrowmaze campaign, as well as all the other games we run on the channel, and a bunch of other things, including a very active Looking for Group channel, which has a bunch of different games available on it. So if you are interested in playing games with some of the folks who frequent my table here, you can find that on there. In addition, there's also a channel dedicated to the open sessions that I run once a month, where I run a game for people who are not playing in any of my ongoing campaigns. So all you got to do is follow the link and join in the conversation on the Dungeon Musings Discord. Finally, or penultimately, there's also a link in the description to something called Heroes Save Villages. That is the charity fundraising campaign that we run on the channel. We don't monetize the channel in any way. We don't, or I don't run ads. I don't run a Patreon. If you are inclined to toss some GP in the direction of the channel, I'd encourage you to click through and learn a little more about the Heroes Save Villages initiative and the SOS Children's Villages International charity that benefits from it. SOS Children's Villages International is active in over 130 countries and benefits over 80,000 orphaned and abandoned children from around the world. It's a really terrific organization, and the very generous viewers and players of this channel have been done a lot to support the charity this year. I don't want anyone to feel obliged, of course, but if you are enjoying the content, I ask you to consider clicking through, learning about SOS Children's Villages International, and possibly making a donation, all of which goes directly to help the kids who benefit from the services of SOS Children's Villages International. Last but not least, I want to thank my players. So John, Jeff, Arlen, and Carl, thank you so much for suffering through my gnome voice for a bunch of the session. I would get used to it for a little while now. I had a ton of fun setting up this.
Your Magra voice or whatever.
My which?
The voice of the Skeksis-like creatures. That's going to be...
It's going to be so much fun.
Maybe we won't run into them.
Top Ballista gives me an opportunity to do all sorts of ridiculous voices, including Sphinx voices, too.
Your Mother of Toads was Emmy Award worthy.
Thank you. Much appreciated. Okay, so anyway, guys, again, thank you so much for joining you. This was great. I can't wait to do a fucking night drop into a flying city. This is going to be terrific. This is why I play D&D. Until next time, for those listening at home, again, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you again in, either we'll see you when you click on the next video, or we'll see you again on Friday night. So thanks again, and until then, happy gaming.